Today you're going to be forming your bowl out of clay. We are using these bowls that are already made as a mold. That means that your clay is going to take the shape of whatever bowl you choose. You can add more stuff on to change the shape a little bit more later on, but this will help get you started. There's two ways you can use this. You can either use it as a bump mold. That means it goes up, not in. So it's kind of almost like a bump in the sidewalk. It goes up, and that means you would lay your clay over it and it would take shape by being laid on the molds. The other way is a slump mold. Kind of if you slump in your chair, you're bending your back over, it's kind of leaning down. So that means the clay would go into the mold, it would slump in, and that's how it would start to take its shape. So you can do this either way. I'm going to show you the the bump mold first. First, you need to make sure you get some plastic or a grocery bag. I will give you this when you pick up your clay. And you need to make sure it's over the plastic. That way it doesn't get stuck to your mold. If you're doing the slump mold, you would take the clay that I give you and lay it on top of the bowl form and kind of push down around the sides. If it kind of bends over itself, so right here if you look close, it's starting to kind of bend over, you would just kind of push it and smooth it into the other part of the clay. You want it to be pretty tight on that form, but not so tight that's going to cause you problems when you take it off. If it goes all the way over the whole form, you would take a tool and you would very slowly cut all the way around. So here I see it goes to the table a little bit. I'm going to draw a line where the bowl meets the table into the clay over and over and over again until it comes loose. You can also use one of these DIY tools I made. It's just a paper clip. Gives you cleaner edges. You also will see that I have all this extra space, so that means I would take clay and I would begin to add it on and cut it off just like I did before. You really need to make sure that when you add on clay, you're scoring. That means you're scratching up the sides of the clay and slipping. So you scratch where it goes, you add some water, not enough to smooth it out, but just enough to make it shiny. And you figure out where you're going to put your clay. You just need to overlap a little bit, so I'm going to score that as well. You can use this tool to do it, or you can use this one here. Either is fine. Add your water to the part you scratched. Press it on. Push it down first, and then smooth it up with your finger. You can also smooth it down if you start to see a bump of show up like I just saw. You can also use a tool to smooth things out. Just make sure you're using a rounded side that's flat and smooth. And then I would go in and I would cut this part off as well. So draw my line first. That way I can smooth it in if I mess up. And go back over it, over and over, until it comes off. And then you can smooth that edge down. Okay, so I would keep doing this all the way around until I've completed the bowl. So that's just one way to do it. The other way is the slump mold. So I would have my bowl like this. I would lay this inside the bowl this time, maybe tuck it around the edges like you saw me do before. And then I would take my clay and now I would lay it into the bowl and push down kind of gently. You don't want to push down hard or it will start to break. So very, very slowly start to push it into the bowl. Okay. Same thing, if it overlaps any, just smooth it in, press it down, kind of turning it as I work, and I'm smoothing in any edges I see or cracks I see as I go. And then the opposite way here, you would either keep attaching clay to the sides to make it fit the top. So here I just need a small piece. I would score and slip, so scratch with your tool. Add some water, press, and smooth it out. It helps to smooth it out if there's a little bit of water on your fingers, but you don't want to do too much because you don't want to turn your clay into mud. Okay? If it starts to get too wet, it will lose its shape and it will be a huge mess that you cannot work with. So then once it's tall enough, that's when I'm going to go around and cut it. So kind of feel where the bowl is and where the clay is. Draw your line where you think it should be. And then kind of just do a little bit at a time. And slowly cut deeper and deeper and deeper into the clay. Okay. Your edge will be a little frayed, so just kind of pinch your fingers, add a little water, and smooth out that edge there. Kind of pinch it. There you go. Okay. So you would just keep doing that same thing all the way around until it comes off. You don't want to fold it over the sides of the bowl because that will make it hard to get it off later. Okay, so one more side over here. Okay, please take your time, go nice and slow. All right, then the hard, tricky part here is getting it out of the form. We have to share these forms. So you'll want to fold over the plastic, or on the other method, you'll want to fold it over as well. And then you want to fill this space with something that will hold the weight. So I'm going to get some paper towels, and I'm really going to scrunch them down and stick them in the bowl. The other way would be a little trickier. You would have to flip it over, stuff it, and flip it back over. If you're struggling with that, just let me know. I'm going to stuff it full all the way to the top so that it feels like there's a really strong base in there. And then I'm going to hold this, I'm going to hold the bottom, and I'm just going to flip it over and take it off. Okay? We'll kind of want that to set up a little bit. We'll put it in a bag, and then next week we'll start to add details.